Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for today's video. I am updating a month later than I would like to be updating. I am updating you guys on my makeup inventory. This is something I'm trying to do quarterly, but I am a month late. I am so behind on like everything that I want to film. So I apologize that this is coming a little bit late. If you guys missed my wrap up of 2018 slash beginning of 2019 makeup inventory. No, not 2018 and 19. We're in 2020 now. Wrap up of 2019 slash beginning of 2020 makeup inventory. I will leave that linked down below and up in the cards for you guys. So check that out if you are interested. But basically we're going to be going through each makeup category today, talking to you guys about how many products I have in each makeup category. And then I do have some goals and some rules and some stipulations I want to set for myself for the next little bit here to try and reel it in just a little bit. So if you guys are interested in hearing about my makeup inventory for the first quarter or for the end of April, then stay tuned. First, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do post a minimum of 4 days a week, so if that's something that interests you, hit the red subscribe button before moving on. And other than that, let's just jump into the video. I do want to preface this makeup inventory by saying I know I have a very large makeup collection. No need to judge. You can keep your judgments to yourself on this. I know I have a large makeup collection. Makeup is a hobby of mine. I have a YouTube channel and I really enjoy testing out new makeup. So I have a very large makeup collection. I do try and be as least wasteful as possible. I try to use up as many products as I can, and if a product really isn't working for me, I'll usually pass them along to like my sister or friends so that someone gets to use them. So please bear that in mind. As we go through my makeup inventory. Be kind, be kind. I know I have a large collection. Alright guys, I have been practicing my wings and they're definitely not even today. I was really struggling. I think the gel liner I'm using is like drying up pretty significantly. And then I finally purchased some false lashes and I'm playing around with false lashes, and this lash was giving me a run for my money. So we might not be looking perfect in the eye category, and maybe the whole face doesn't look perfect, but we're rolling with it today. I know you guys are here for the inventory numbers, not to talk about what's going on with my eyeshadow. Okay, so I'm going to take a sip of my coffee before the judgment could possibly ensue. I was feeling pretty decent about my makeup inventory when we started 2020, and I don't know what happened. Some serious spending happened, and then BoxyCharm, etc., which I know I could cancel BoxyCharm, but I actually just got my April Boxy Premium, and like every single product I was really excited about in there. So I'm not going to cancel my BoxyCharm. You don't even have to suggest it to me. But I don't think any category got better per se. So let's just jump right into it. For the primer category, in January I had 15 primers. In 2019 I used a total of 15 primers. This is a range of full size and deluxe size. And right now I currently have 20 primers in my collection. So we've gone up by 5. You guys, if you know me at all, you know that primer for some reason is just a weak spot of mine. I feel like I have a lot of weak spots, but for some reason primer is one that like is consistent. I go through phases with other makeup categories, like bronzer. I feel like I'll go through phases where I'm like super excited about bronzer and buying a bunch of bronzer, but then I'll fall off that wagon for a bit. Primer, for some reason, I just always want to try new primers, even though I have some like solid holy grails. So we went up by 5. And we're going to get to it later with my goals, but it's time to put myself on a no buy in the primer category. For foundations, in January I was at 17. Oh, and my goal for primers by the end of the year is to get down to like at least 12 to 15, no higher than 15. For foundations, in January I had 17 foundations, which was significantly better than any time throughout 2019. And so I feel like I was like, wow, I really don't have as much foundations as I thought that I had. So then I went a little bit buck wild, and now we're up to 24 foundations, meaning I've purchased 7 foundations this year, which is ridiculous. Last year I did use a total of 14 foundations. However, I feel like going into 2019 I had quite a few like half used foundations, whereas right now I feel like a lot of my foundations are like 3/4 of the way full. So I'm like, oh, I have a lot of foundation right now. My goal is to get this number down to 20 and kind of keep it around that 20 range, which I know is a lot of foundation, like too much foundation for your average Joe, but I do also really like testing new foundations. Foundation is another category that I just get like really excited about putting on my foundation and just manipulating foundations to see how I can make them different and work for me better. So I'm comfortable if my foundation collection is around 20, but 24 is a little bit high. For concealers, in January I had 14 concealers. In 2019 I used a total of 7 concealers. Again, I feel like I had a bunch of like half used concealers in 2019, and I am still at 14 concealers. I haven't yet finished a concealer this year, and concealer is not a category that gets me excited, but I feel like for some reason whenever I'm out and about shopping, whether it be at Ulta or Sephora, obviously not recently, but like whenever I'm in store, I just happen to like pick up concealer. So hopefully, since I haven't been out and about shopping, hopefully we can get this number. My goal for concealer would be to be at 10 or less concealers. I really feel like I would even be happy with like 5 concealers. Concealers take me quite a bit of time to get through, I feel like, and that's even me like using it as like an eyeshadow base, etc. So I would like to see this number get down to like 10 by the end of the year and then stay below 10. I found some concealers this year that I've really fallen hard for, and I feel like concealer is something that I'm super picky about, but if I just have my like 2 or 3 die-hard concealers and then maybe like 1 or 2 I'm testing, that's where I feel like I really only need like 5 concealers in my collection. Okay, for powders, I feel like my powder collection like does not intimidate me. It does not make me feel overwhelmed at all. In January, I had 9 powders. I actually used up 6 powders last year, which I found to be very interesting. It didn't feel like I used up 6 powders, especially since I've really come to like powders like towards the end of 2019. And now I have 10 powders in my collection. I did get a powder in a BoxyCharm, and then I also purchased the Bite Beauty powder, which I am in love with. Do not regret that purchase at all, but I have used up a powder this year. So we are at 10 powders. I would eventually like to get my powder collection down to like 6 or 8. I do like having like a loose powder or a couple loose powders and a couple of pressed powders, but I'm not like a die-hard powder person, and I have pretty like normal to dry skin, like pretty dry in the winter, so powder just isn't something that I like need on a daily basis. So I would be comfortable if my collection was down to like 6 to 8 primer or powders. Okay, for bronzer, in January I had 18 bronzers, and I still have 18 bronzers. I did finish up 4 bronzers in 2019, but again, a lot of those I came into the year with them being half used, and I finished I think all of them throughout projects. I definitely don't see myself finishing 4 bronzers this year, but my bronzer collection is not nearly as overwhelming to me as it was last year. I think at one point last year I had like 25 bronzers in my collection. I think I would like to get my bronzer collection down to like 15, and I would be comfortable with that. A mixture of like a mixture of cream and powder is just like 1 or 2 cream bronzers and then some powder bronzers. I do really enjoy bronzer. Again, I go through phases where I like to buy them and not buy them, but I do really enjoy just having bronzer on my face. It's one of my favorite makeup items, I think. Like I would like give me a tinted moisturizer and toss some bronzer on and I'll be good as long as I have my bronzer. So I would be comfortable if my bronzer collection was around 15. For blush, in January I had 34 blushes, which is just madness because I have yet to pan a blush within my collection. And now, so I sometimes get confused as to what I counted as a face palette and what I counted towards my blush collection, but I decided anything that is a trio or a quad or like a duo, if it's all blushes, I counted it in this blush category, and now I have 40 40 blushes, which is ridiculous. However, looking at my blush collection, there's really nothing I like want to part with. Blush is something that I really like to cycle through. Like, I don't like to use the same blush more than like 3 to 4 times in like a 2-week span. I really like to cycle through my blushes. So even though I know I have a lot, I feel like I am cycling through them. I'm sure there's a couple of neglected blushes throughout my collection, but I really do try to get to all of them, at least in like a bi-monthly basis. I realistically would eventually love if I could get my blush collection down to like 25 or 30, but I just don't know how I'm going to do that. I have so many blushes. And even though I tell myself like blush isn't that important to me, I feel like I've become like a blush lover. Like, I feel like when people are releasing new blushes, I'm always like, ooh, that's really pretty. Ooh, I want that blush. Like, ColourPop makes some really, really beautiful blushes, and I always feel very inclined to look deeper into the blush releases from ColourPop, as well as I really want the new Persona blushes. I think those look stunning as well. So I definitely could see my blush collection growing a little bit rather than going down. But I think like a realistic goal for me would be eventually to get down to like 25 or 30. We'll see. For highlighter, this is another out of control part of my makeup collection. In January, I had 39 highlighters, and I'm still at 39 highlighters. So it's good that I haven't really brought new highlighter into my collection. Highlighter in the past, I felt like was a category where I was like constantly wanting every new highlighter I saw. And now I feel like I've more shifted to wanting all the new blushes that I see. Highlighter, like, I'm good with what I have. I'm sure I say that and then like another new highlighter will release and I'll be like, ooh, I need that. But right now, I'm good with what I have. I would eventually like to see my highlighter collection get down to like 30. Again, you guys, I know this is like a ridiculous amount of makeup for one person to have, but it's a hobby. I love makeup, and I'm comfortable with my collection being at 30 highlights if I could get it down to 30. For eyeshadow palettes, in January I had 80 eyeshadow palettes, and I've been decent in this category. This category has gotten better. Right now I am at 69. I did declutter, I think 13, and then I brought 2 more into my collection the last like month or so. I got the Fun Size palette from Sugar Pill. I actually have that on my eyes today. It's the first time that I have used it, and I don't know, I like the look that I created today. I had fun creating this. And then I also have the Rust palette, that Melt released, which is beautiful. I would like to keep my palette collection at 70 max. So if I'm going to be bringing any more palettes into my collection, then I do want to declutter some palettes. I do have my quarterly palette usage update. I did that video for the first time at the beginning of this month. So if you're interested in seeing that video, I will link it. But essentially, I'm tracking every single time that I use the palette. Even if I'm only dipping into that palette for one shade, I track it, and any palette that did not get used within 3 months, I am decluttering. And then at the end of the year, if there are palettes that I haven't used more than 10 times, I will declutter that palette as well. Just because I want to get use out of and love the palettes that I truly do love using. And sometimes I feel like I get distracted by some of these palettes that probably don't need to be in my collection. So my goal here is just to keep it under 70 palettes. Again, I know that's a huge number, but that is what I'm comfortable with. For eyeshadow singles and liquid shadows, in January I was at 58. Right now I am at 71, and I'm not sure where the discrepancy in that is. I purchased a few new single shadows, and I guess I got a trio of liquid shadows in my Beautylish box, but I don't know how I went up by that many. Single shadows, I'm okay with this category growing by a little bit. I would rather not bring more liquid shadows into my collection just because I don't reach for them all that often and they dry up pretty quickly. But single shadows, I want to try more indie brands this year. I recently placed an order with Give Me Glow Cosmetics and got, I think, 6 of their single shadows. They're incredible. I got all their shimmers, or all the shadows that I got were shimmer. They are stunning. And I would like to try more indie brands with their eyeshadow specifically. So I would be okay with my single shadow collection growing by a little bit. I probably could also declutter some of my singles that I know I'm not reaching for. I think next I want to order from JD Glow. There's some really pretty singles from JD Glow Cosmetics that I'm interested in. But eyeshadow singles is something that doesn't make me too uncomfortable. I have in my Shop My Stashes now incorporated choosing some singles to focus on for the rotation of each Shop My Stash to try and make me reach for my singles more often. I feel like in the past I've definitely neglected singles, but now that I'm starting to use them more often, that's why I'm comfortable having this category increase by a little bit, because again, I would like to support as well as try out some more indie brands, and specifically I'm most interested in indie brand eyeshadows. So if you guys have any good recommendations, leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear if there are any indie brands that you are specifically interested in me testing out and reviewing for you guys. Let me know. For eyeliners, I started the year with 27 eyeliners and now I am at 30. I don't remember purchasing any eyeliners, but I feel like I've probably gotten some in BoxyCharms, which is why we've seen the growth here. I'd be comfortable with this being around 20 to 25 as long as I had a good mix of colors. Now that I'm like starting to practice my wings, I would want like a couple of like felt tip liners too, maybe a couple gel liners. So the more I have fun and play with makeup and don't always do my like neutral thing, I would be comfortable again with this category being like 20 to 25, but I don't want to have just like 8 brown eyeliners in my collection. Like there's no need for that. I only need a couple. And then I want like a good range of colors too, just to have fun with some colorful looks. For face palettes in January, I had 24 and now I am down to 21 face palettes. Now that might be because I counted some of those blush trios last update as face palettes, whereas now I counted them in the blush category. I get really confused in that aspect, but I'm at 21 face palettes, which is quite a bit considering I feel like I'm not the best at reaching for my face palettes, although I have been trying to at least choose 1 to 2 face palettes to focus on every Shop My Stash, which I feel like has been helpful. This is a category, there's nothing, with the exception of maybe like 1 or 2 palettes, there's nothing I could confidently say I would want to get rid of. And I do like having face palettes for when we can travel, or like if I'm going to visit my mom and gonna stay overnight, just a really quick, easy thing to grab. So I don't need to purchase any more face palettes, but I'm comfortable right now with where this is at. For shadow primer, I was at 3 in January, now I'm at 2. This is something where I'm comfortable with 1 to 2 shadow primers. Oftentimes I am just reaching for concealer for a shadow base, and then the only time I ever really reach for a shadow primer is if I'm doing like a glitter glue and doing the NYX glitter glue or the Too Faced one, or if I'm trying to go for it with like a really intense shimmery shade and want to use like a more adhesive product. I just don't reach for shadow primer that often, so I really only need 1, possibly 2, but like really just 1. For mascara in January, I started the year with 25 mascaras. I am down to 21 mascaras. I ended up using up 17 mascaras in 2019, but I way overuse mascara, you guys. I am someone who likes to mix and match and cocktail her mascaras. Oftentimes I'll have 3 to 4 mascaras open at a time, which I know is ridiculous, but in order to get the length, separation, and volume I want, I love to mix and match mascaras. That is why I only like to purchase drugstore or mini mascaras, because no one needs to spend $80 on mascara every 4 months if you consider like a $20 mascara and I have 4 open. I also get a lot of mascara. I feel like mascara is like that thing that you always are getting just free mini mascaras, or I'm getting full-size mascaras in my BoxyCharms. So if I didn't have a bunch open at a time, my mascara collection would be out of control. I have not purchased, sorry for the construction in the back. This has been going on for like 4 weeks and there's no end in sight. My goal is to not purchase any mascaras this year, and I should be able to make it through doing that unless I get to like the end of my mascara collection and it's all just complete junk. But in my BoxyCharm, I just got the Wander Beauty, I think, Mile High Mascara. This is the second time I've got it in BoxyCharm. which normally would kind of annoy me, but I really like that Wander Beauty mascara, so I was really excited about that. So as long as I keep getting, you know, the mascaras, the free mascaras, and the mascaras in my BoxyCharm, this is something that, like, I kind of want to see how long I can go without purchasing mascara. I do have some favorites that I would eventually like to pick back up, like the NARS Climax. I have a couple of Milk Kush mascaras on backup. Milk Kush mascara I feel like you often get in like Milk value sets. And then the Wander Beauty Caution, not Wander Beauty, Hourglass mascara, Hourglass Caution mascara is something that I would eventually like to pick up. And then I always love L'Oreal Voluminous like Carbon Black mascara. But my goal is to make it through 2020 without purchasing a mascara. So we're gonna see if I can do it. All right, and finally moving into the for brows. I started the year with 6, now I'm down to 6. My goal would be to have 5 max in this. Usually I'm just doing a powder in my brows. Rare is the day I reach for a pencil or a pomade, but I do have each of those on deck. And then I also have the Kush Fiber Gel from Milk, which I like to have. I do like to have a fiber brow gel, and then I also have a clear brow gel too. So five brow products at a time seems reasonable. So then moving into the lip category. Okay, so finally moving into the lip category. For lip crayons and lip liners, I counted these two together. In January, I had 31. Now I have 33. I believe I've gotten a couple lip liners in BoxyCharm. This is a category that I feel like I would love to see get down to like 10 or 12. I rarely reach for lip liners. This is another category I would like to see myself not buy any lip liners this year. I feel like though, the more Samantha March is like buying lip liner, wearing lip liner, recommending lip liner, the more I'm like, ugh, I feel like I need lip liner. So I'm gonna try and restrain, try and hold back. If I could get this even down to like 20 by the end of the year and then eventually work my way towards like 10, that would be a great goal for me, I think. Lip crayons I don't use that often, so I probably could do some decluttering in the lip crayon category, but that is where we are at with that. For balms, you guys know I am a diehard lip balm fan. If I had 50 lip balms, I would be like, awesome girlfriend, you go. I don't care how many lip balms I have in my collection. I am always using lip balm. I have lip balm scattered all throughout my house. I have it in my nightstand. I have it in my bathroom. I have it in my office. I have it at my computer here. I have it at my vanity. I have some in my daughter's room for when we play. I have some downstairs in my little bowl that holds my remotes. So if I'm watching TV and need lip balm, I have lip balm everywhere because I have the most chronically dry lips, and I swear, like, if I go 3 hours without some sort of lip balm on my lips, suddenly I have raisin lips again. So for lip balms, in January I had 9. Now I am up to 11. I used up 10 lip balms last year. I might be like missing a few balms, but you guys know I have a soft spot in my heart for balms, and I truly for goal for lip balms, I wrote no F's given, as in I don't care how many balms I have in my collection. I think it's an acceptable number. For lipsticks, last year I used up 1 lipstick, which I thought was very interesting. In January I had 49 lipsticks. Now I have 46 lipsticks. So we have gone down in this category, and my goal for lipsticks would eventually be to get this number down to like 30. I think is something I would feel comfortable with. I definitely reach for bullet lipsticks a lot more now than I used to. I used to be like more into liquid lipsticks, and now I'm kind of more into like lip gloss and lipsticks. I like rarely do just a solid liquid lipstick on its own. That's very rare for me. But my goal for lipsticks, I think I would be comfortable with 30. And again, a good range of colors. For liquid lipsticks, I started the year with 79 liquid lipsticks, and now suddenly I'm at 80. I must have gotten a liquid lipstick in my BoxyCharm because I know I haven't purchased a liquid lipstick. My goal for this category, again, would be to get this down to like 30 or less. I'm just not reaching for liquid lipsticks enough to justify it. And truly, my favorite liquid lipstick formulas are Dose of Colors and Persona Cosmetics. Those are like the two that I find to be the most comfortable. I also like Ofra liquid lipsticks. but I don't want to be buying a liquid lipstick unless I know I like the formula, or maybe like I'm testing out 1 or 2 formulas at a time. I just do not reach for liquid lipstick enough to justify purchasing any right now. So I don't want to bring any more liquid lipstick into my collection. And then finally, for the lip gloss category, I've been wearing gloss a ton. I started the year with 51 lip glosses. I believe I used 5 lip glosses. No, I don't know what I used for lip gloss last year. But in January, I had 51 lip glosses. Now I have 55 lip glosses. I think I've gotten a couple in BoxyCharm as well as purchased a few. My goal for lip gloss is tough because I love lip gloss. But there are definitely some in my lip gloss collection right now that like, probably like in the grand scheme of things didn't need to buy. Like there's one that I think is called Bora Bora from Tarte that is just this like super iridescent, like mermaidy type of lip gloss. And it's like, I purchased it when like that was the trend, but I probably don't need that in my collection. So with lip gloss, I would like to move some out. My goal would be to get this to like 30 or 35. I do have my favorite lip gloss formulas, so I could see myself bringing in some more of my favorite formulas, but I really am going to try to maybe declutter some. I know my daughter loves to play with lip gloss, so maybe I will give some lip glosses to her, see if my sister wants any. But lips, my lip category in general, I would love to see go significantly down when I update you guys at the end of June. I would love to see some downward movement in all these categories, but very specifically lips. And then I did forget to mention for sprays. Sprays is never a category that really concerns me. I did use up 11 sprays in 2019. In January, I was at 7 sprays. Now I'm at 7 sprays. My goal would be like 10 or under. I like to have a glowy spray. I like to have a MAC Fix Plus. I like to have an Urban Decay All-Nighter. I like to have a spray to kind of use in the middle of like my makeup application. Like right now I have one from In Beauty, and I also am trying out the Florence Chill Spray. And I like to have a spray in my purse too if I want to freshen up throughout the day. And I also like to have one like near my deck too, now that we're getting into the warmer months. So I'm comfortable with 10 makeup setting sprays. I know I can use those up. Again, I used up 5. Oh, I used up 5 lip glosses last year, and then I used up 11 setting sprays last year. So I used 11 setting sprays. I'm good with 10 in my collection or under. But after that, that is going to conclude my quarterly makeup inventory update for 2020. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know, what is your most embarrassing category? Like, what category are you most embarrassed by? Maybe you have like 500 highlighters. And then what category do you feel like you're like nailing it? Like you have the most curated makeup category. Maybe you only have like 2 concealers and you're just rocking it in the concealer category. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments below. Other than that, thank you so much for sticking around to watch this video. Thank you for not judging me on my numbers, and I appreciate all of you for supporting my channel as always, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.